Hi, I'm Graham from Second Era of Mods, and if you've clicked on this video accidentally, 90 seconds is all I ever ask. Welcome back to another week that was on Pokemon Masters X. It's been slightly less busy this week. That doesn't mean there hasn't been plenty to do. We've had the Champion Stadium as always, continuing on with the Battle Villa if you hadn't got through that already. There's the Town Square Fair event going on that was launched back end of last week. And we've had the daily rotation to be getting on with as well. So who's ready to take a little stroll through the Champion Stadium Master Mode? I know I am! So this week I realised quite quickly after I finished the first round that I hadn't picked the best order to take on the Elite Four in. So I went and did it a second time, but I forgot to screenshot the parameters. So what I'm going to do is take you through my first run first, and then at the end I'm going to show you my Hall of Fame for the second run and explain a bit why that's better. So for round one, the stats boost you get from using a sync move is doubled. This condition is ideal for using with your 6x supports, and particularly if you're going to use a main striker that's maybe not as strong as some of your other ones. I personally chose to take in two 6x supports for this one, so I went up against Will, and my main striker, as always with ghost types, is Morty with Driftblim. Second was Hilbert and Oshawott, and then Rosa and Serperia rounded out that group. So Morty uses both physical and special attacks. So you've got Hilbert can raise physical attacks, Rosa can raise special attacks, Hilbert does a lot of other things as well, Rosa can charge the move gauge. And the idea is that you boost all of the stats. You have one 6x sync first, second one sync second, and then Morty comes in with a gigantic sync move third to finish it all off. And then in the meantime, Morty is using Shadow Ball to take out the sides and the middle, and then when it gets down to it, he starts using Phantom Force as well. That was the plan, but I forgot to use my 6x supports. I don't think I used either of them and just started syncing with Morty straight away. So yeah, I took in two good 6x supports for not really much of a reason. I mean, what can you do? Sometimes I'm just dumb, but luckily Morty's sync move is quite powerful in and of itself. I was able to take out one of the sides with the second one. I've done a fair amount of damage to Xatu in the middle, and all I needed to do was use a couple of Phantom Forces to take out Xatu and then take out the Mischievous on the other side. Round 2 was probably where I had my biggest struggles. It took me a few attempts and I went back and forth between Karen and Koga for this one. So I tried using Guzma as my physical striker to get that boost. Then that wasn't working and I thought, oh, I'll just reset. And you have to finish it to reset. And I thought, you know what? I'll just go up against Koga. Koga's weak to fire types, and my fire team pretty much builds itself at this point. So your condition is a physical attack boost. As I said, I went up against Koga, and the team that I selected for that job was Red with Charizard, Blaine and Rapidash, and the player with Torchic. It's kind of your standard Fire Sun team, so Blaine sets Trap and then Sunny Day, Charizard raises its stats and then comes in with a big sync move at 6x. It can hit everyone, which thankfully I have. Torchic raises both special attack and physical attack, which is good because Charizard has a bit of both, and I've got him gridded to have Haymaker in addition to Solar Flare to make that sync move really, really strong. It wasn't all a sunny day though. It took me a couple of attempts to get through it, and I'm not entirely sure why, because the enemy sync move was coming in and wiping me out. I think maybe I gave it too much strength, or that attack boost added more than I realised it was going to, but I had to rely on getting a couple of propulsions in there so that I could use two sync moves and take the other team out before they could sync once and wipe my team out. Round 3 was probably the easiest round for me this week. The condition is that stat lowering effects are much more effective. I saw that Bruno was weak to fairy types, and that always makes me think of Granville. Granville. No, that's Open All Hours. Of Granbull and Mina with her Charm, which raises attack. From there you think, well, who else am I going to have on my fairy team? Obviously I'm going to have Xerneas for Moonblast, Horn Leech, The World is Vast, all of the things that that amazing deer bloke does. And I'd recently upgraded Jasmine to 6x, so I thought I'll take her in for the 6x sync boost. She can raise defense as well, she's got Clang to recharge the move gauge, so there's a lot of going on with this team, and that's without even getting into the healing that goes on there. And so what you're doing is you're using Charm on all of Bruno's team to lower their attack, you're raising defense with Jasmine, sync first with Xerneas to get all of the stats boost that goes with it, then sync with Jasmine so that she can get that 6x boost. She also has Rejuvenate, so that's going to increase her health as well. I think it charges the move gauge as well. She does a lot, that lady with the bunny ears. But I did a reasonable amount of damage to Hitmonchan, and I was like, I've only got that much left. You know what? I'm going to take out your buddy there, and your buddy there, and you can watch, and you can be sort of going, oh no, stop it. And I'm like, that's not doing anything to me. But here's the full power of the moon to destroy you. On to round 4, where the move gauge gets a boost. It's going to fill up much more quickly than usual. Karen was the one that was left for me, and she was weak to bug types this week. Usually I would go with Viola and Masquerain and do some kind of poison trap, but I don't know, that doesn't challenge me anymore, so I wanted to go with one of my bug type strikers. As I said earlier, I tried going with Guzma because he was a physical striker, but I only have him at 1 out of 5, so I don't have access to his full grid. Eventually I settled on Leavanny, who I have at 4 out of 5, and I thought, you know what, just to make sure that we get this one done, I'm going to pair him with my 2 strongest 6x support units. So that's Signusuit, Blastoise, and Swanna and Skylar. And the idea is you boost all of the stats with your side Pokemon, you raise Leavanny's special attack, you sync first with Blastoise to get that endurance and also that 6x boost, then you sync with Swanna to get a further 6x boost, and then all of the rest of the sync moves go to Leavanny, who's going to be your main damage dealer. Karen is going to come at you with a lot of different things in this round. So she has Bite and Dark Pulse, both of which can cause you flinching. The Sharpedo will occasionally use Ice Fang, which can cause freezing. That was a bit of a bugger when I found that one out. The worst one is that after her sync move, she's going to get a guaranteed crit, and then she's going to use Stored Power. So that's going to hit whoever's your target very, very hard. That's why Blastoise has to sync first, to make sure you have that endurance on whichever unit is being targeted. You're going to be tempted to heal that unit after the sync move. I would advise against that, because Karen's attack is going to wipe its health out, whatever happens. So you're not going to be able to save that endurance. You want the Stored Power to hit, bring it down to 1 HP and take away that endurance, unfortunately. But then you can heal from there, because the next attacks are going to be usually a couple of bites and they're going to do a lot less damage. You're not going to be able to take out Umbreon before it uses its sync move, and to get Leavanny to survive the sync move, you're going to have to raise its special defense a fair amount. Thankfully, Blastoise has a passive on Water Pulse, where if it's successful, it raises the special defense of everyone on the team. So you want to be using as many of those as possible. You don't need to use all of your X defense all, because Swanna has that covered. You don't need to use probably more than one to the top, because it's not going to run out either. And most of the time when you've got strength conditions on, like I have with most of these, it's about being able to survive that sync move, to be able to take that big hit. when it comes and keep going forward, because it's going to be a long time before they're able to use a second one, and you can probably get in 3, 4 even sync moves of your own, which should be enough to take out any team. And then once you've taken out Umbreon, it doesn't stop there, because Sharpedo is the one you want to go for next. It's going to use Surf, which has a move that hits everyone. That's most likely going to leave any out in 1, maybe 2 hits, so you want to get rid of that Sharpedo as quickly as possible. Reuniclus on the other side has Shadow Ball. I was going to say only has Shadow Ball, but that's undermining it a bit. But it will only hit one opponent at a time, and it's going to hit the supports first that have higher defense and can tank through it a bit more. And having got through all that, you're finally on to the champion round. Lance is the champion. That's my epic tale. Our champion prevailed. He's a friend of humanity, so pour him some ale. And this week, once again, Lance has his Charizard. It's weak to water types. I talked about it a couple of weeks ago, and I finally managed to do it this week. That's right, double water strikers! So I had Palkia and Barry in there, and I paired them up with Dawn. The condition is a physical attack reduction. I think that really helps us out more than it helps Lance, because he's going to be trying to use Flare Blitz even. God, that's difficult to say. Which is a physical attack, and that reduction is going to hurt him more than it hurts us. I also chose the move gauge boost as the optional condition, just so that I'd have enough to use Bubble and Hydro Pump with Palkia in the same turn, and then maybe even something from Dawn as well. So Dawn really plays well into going up against Lance and his physical attacks, because she can raise defense. When she's hit by a move, it lowers that Pokemon's attack, so with that layered on top of the physical attack reduction you already have, Lance is just not going anywhere. And then if he does manage to do some stuff, you've got good as new, and it's like you're right back where you started, Lance. How do you feel? How do you feel? So I would say Palkia sinks first, because that's gonna make his crit bonuses kick in, and then from there it's just dropping the Barry Bomb on them. I love that little dude. So you're using Hydro Pump. I chose to take out the 2 sides first, and then Charizard in the middle with a 6x sync hitting everyone. That's quite easy to do, especially if you're using Bubble with Barry as well, because that's going to hit all 3 of them as well, and it's going to wind them down a lot more quickly than Charizard in the middle. My main concern was Charizard's sync move, and when it came I was a bit like, what are we going to be looking at here? And it hit, and I was like, oh, that was it? Okay, yeah, I can take that, and now here's my big sync move. Deal with that. So that was my first run through. I still got my 7,500 points on it, I just felt that I could do it a lot better, you know? So I took another crack at it. And I'm going to put my second Hall of Fame up here. You can see that I've mostly used the same teams. The only real change I made was in the Morty team. I took out Rosa and Serperior because I thought I don't really need the extra 6x in there. Maybe I'll need that later. And I put in Onyx to raise its own defense, and it has potions in case I needed some healing. And so I chose to take on Karen in round 1 this time because I thought that 6x boost would be a lot more effective. And then Will was in round 2 to give Morty that boost on its physical attack. I think its Sync move and its Phantom Force are both physical attack moves, so that boost goes a lot better there. And Will doesn't really use any physical attacks, I don't think, so it doesn't cost me anything on the other side. Bruno stays exactly the same. Koga goes into round 4, that move gauge boosts help if you're using Blast Burn, for example. That's a 4-bar move, and then you want to use like Sunny Day before your second sync move hits in. It also takes that physical attack, which maybe was my weakness against Koga the first time round. And then Lance is the same as well. Dual Water Strikers! I'm so glad I got to use that, it's very fun. So there you have it, you got 2 7,500 point runs for the price of 1 this week. Hopefully you found them both reasonably helpful and you can learn from my mistakes. But look at that podium up there. There. Hey! Happy, happy people, happy all the time. So your battle villa remains open at this point if you haven't finished it off already. I said the last time it was open that my preferred team for later rounds is Skylar, Xerneas and Leon, and that remains true. That team has a lot of advantages for this type of battle. It gets a lot of move point refreshes, which are always helpful. You don't have to use many items to recover between the rounds. They've added things like move candy coins into there as well, so they're keeping the rewards fresh. I think in one round you also get some scout tickets, so that's all good to be going on. The only thing I will say is remember to do your daily co-op battles so that you can get your skill cookies in there. I like to do mine while I brush my teeth. Hopefully you're settling into the daily rotation as well. It's not quite a daily region rotation, it's every sort of few days. I don't know if they're planning on eventually it's going to be daily and they're just rolling it out at the moment so you get a few days to get used to your team, but we'll see what happens. It's a good way to get your tomes and your codexes though for unlocking those level caps. And finally we've had the Town Square Street Fair event launch this week. It's been a bit of a drip feed in terms of what they're giving us, so there's 4 different types of vouchers that you can use, and they had the daily battle for one of them to start off with, and then they moved up to the second type and then the third type, and now we have all of them unlocked so you can do whichever ones you want, which I don't mind. I think it's a way to keep this sort of event a bit fresh and stops it from feeling stale. It does artificially prolong it just a little bit, but I don't mind that as long as you have plenty of opportunity to get your rewards, which I think with this one you will do. And so for the battle challenges, I didn't find these very challenging at all. Because Fantina was weak to ice types, I chose Getsis and Kyurem as my main striker. I said last week that guy pairs well with a good Rosa and Serperia, and then I put Skylar and Swanna in there as my 6x because she's brilliant. And you just keep using Glaciate, and you use the 6x moves to get the boost, and then Kyurem after that. Shouldn't cause you too much problems. If you're getting low on health, you have options to heal yourself with potions. You can raise all sorts of different stats. You can get a move gauge boost from Rosa, and it shouldn't be much of a problem. In round 2, you get an extra reward, which is a support move candy coin for using 3 Alolan types. So the 3 I used was Acerola and Palossand, and then Kukui and Olivia with both of their Lycan rocks. I love Olivia, she's one of my favourites. I can't wait until they give her a 6x because I'm sure it's coming. And when they do, Jesus shall weep, for there shall be no more worlds to conquer. And so the strategy is you have Kukui using Leer, you have Acerola using Flinch, and she can set Sandstorm if you want to. Occasionally use over here just so that she starts healing. You want to be getting some good flinching going on because not only does Acerola have Astonish, but Kukui has Accelerock, and if you've got him gridded so that can cause flinch as well. And then Olivia raises her own attack. She can raise her accuracy and her crit hit rate as well if you so wish. And then after that it's Sync Moves and Stone Edge from her. She's going to be outputting a lot of damage. She is a very strong physical attacker, which plays well with Kukui's using Leer. I decided that with my second sync move I was going to take out Solrock. I wasn't sure if there was going to be some kind of funky move that hits everyone coming from the sides. That's usually how these ones go. So I preempted it and took out Soul Rock. Then there was a couple of more Stone Edges to take out Drifblim in the middle. And then I was just flinching the absolute bejesus out of Lunatone with Accelerock and Astonish, so we couldn't get a move in edgeways. And then just Stone Edge, Stone Edge, Stone Edge until it goes down. Stone Edge it into submission. So this last bit doesn't really have anything to do with the game, it's just what I did. So you could get quite a few good rewards from pulling with your first 5 pulls on the Master Fairs for both Archie and for Maxie. So I did that for Archie and his Koga. I hope I got that the right way round. And I got all of those nice rewards. And I also got a Koga out of it, which I was very happy with. And I thought, well, let's see what we can do in terms of getting Maxie and Groudon. So I got all of the 5-star tickets and the coins out of that, but no Groudon. So I thought, it's fine, I've still got gems left over, I'll keep pulling, and keep pulling, and keep pulling. And now I am hemorrhaging gems. I do not have a Groudon, and I don't know whether I have enough time to stock up more gems to get to that ticket scout, the 400 points for that, so I can guarantee I pull for Groudon before it goes away. So I kind of went against my own principles, which is make sure you've got the gems first, then do the spending. I kind of regret a little bit investing so heavily going after B. I didn't realise that she was just going to be added to the pool afterwards, but you live, you learn. So thank you for joining me for another week that was. Hopefully we've all learned a little something along the way. You're well past the 90-second mark at this point, so thank you for coming so far. You might as well subscribe to the channel and follow me on Twitter so that you know when next week's week that was comes along. Hopefully you'll join me for the week that will be next week, but thank you very much for watching this video and goodbye.